For today's session, please use the Q&A feature to submit your questions for the presenter. You can find it at the bottom of your screen. I'm sure you guys seen that throughout the day. Feel free to interact with each other in the chat throughout the session. We'll be monitoring it for your questions and comments. And of course, today's session will be recorded and it will be available on flirt.info within the next few weeks. And again, I want to give a huge thank you and welcome again our ASL interpreters from HASA, Alyssa and Anissa. And again, closed captioning is available. You just have to toggle towards at the bottom and turn it on if you don't already see it. Okay, so now I would like to introduce you to Ashley Biggs, Marketing and Outreach Librarian at the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. Do I get to share my favorite show that I'm watching, or?
Absolutely, tell us about it.
I am all about Law and Order. Like, that is my favorite show. The original, not any of the remakes or the side shows. I'm just like all about I'm all about. Okay, can you see my screen? Awesome. So for those who I have not had an opportunity to meet, my name is Ashley Biggs and I'm the Marketing and Outreach Librarian for the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. And I'm so excited to be here today. A little bit of a background on our agency. For over 50 years, we have been providing alternative reading options to those unable to access traditional print. This means individuals who are blind, low vision, have a physical impairment, or perhaps are deafblind, or have a print disability related to an organic dysfunction. Our services expand the entire state, and we serve currently approximately 8,000 individuals. Now, to put that in contrast, there are over 100,000 individuals who may qualify for services in the state of Maryland. We are located in downtown Baltimore and primarily provide services through the U.S. mail, and I'm going to get into that here in a second. Now, when I present, I do describe the screen. This is done so that if you are calling in or if you are unable to access the screen, you will not lose out on any visual imagery that we have. The image that is on this current slide is of the digital talking book player. The digital talking book player is approximately 8 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 2 inches deep. It weighs approximately 3 pounds, and it contains a speaker on top with multiple buttons. Now, also on the screen is a digital talking book. This digital talking book is a glorified USB. It's a USB drive encased in plastic. It weighs less than an ounce, and it is sent through the U.S. Postal Service in a blue shipping container. The shipping container is a clamshell container that can be opened very easily using snaps. Now, the digital talking book machine is considered our bread and butter. This is the device that you primarily see when you think of the Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. This device is easy to use and it has built-in instructions. The buttons that I described on the top, each one, when there's no book inside the machine, will give the instructions for what that button does. So there are no fumblings with printed instructions. There's no trying to figure out the small print of a booklet that was sent your way. All the instructions are built in. This makes the device incredibly easy to use for individuals who are low vision, have limited mobility physically, or who are blind. All of our books are read by real human voices. Here in Maryland, we even record our own books using volunteers. The books are recorded with professional voice actors, and they are designed specifically to sound optimal to your ears. The device is lightweight and portable. It comes with a carrying handle and a 30-hour battery life. Now, the device itself is pretty durable. However, if you drop kick it, I don't know if it's going to play, but it's pretty durable. It can be bumped around. This is very, very good because oftentimes people like to pick it up, put it in their backpack, and take it with them on the road. On the side of the player is access for accessories, such as headphones that we can provide, or a USB slot for downloading digital books. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, that's great. How do I get one? How does it go out to people? Well, we send everything through the US Postal Service. This is designed so that you don't have to worry about the device being picked up at a location or dropped off somewhere. It is specific to you and it comes to your home. Going a little deeper into how our books work, the image on the screen is of a scribe. There are two towers, each with two beveled fronts, and that is where the digital cartridge goes in. To give you an idea of why how our services work, is it used to be that the library would pull between 800 and 1,000 of these digital book cartridges per day and mail them out to roughly 6,000 active patrons. That was enormous. And if you wanted the latest James Patterson, you had to wait for the James Patterson to be returned because we only had a number of limited copies. You probably see this at your branches as well. There's like a hold list. Well, now we do something called Books on Demand, and it allows us to synthesize books onto the digital cartridge. And right now, our circulation staff went from pulling 1,000 physical books a day to circulating over 1,200 books a day, but only having to deal with 100 cartridges. So it's a massive shift. Each cartridge will contain anywhere between 5 and 25 books. And sometimes we've even squeezed 30 on there. You can actually check out up to 4 cartridges per patron. So for instance, if a patron wanted to, they could max out each cartridge, let's say 20 books per cartridge, have 4 cartridges checked out. That's 4 cartridges with 20 books at their disposal. Each cartridge is completely customized for the individual. This means that there's no waiting for books. We download them directly, put them on the cartridge. So if Sally wants Danielle Steele, James Patterson, and a couple of Westerns, she can have them. And if John wants the same James Patterson and the same Danielle Steele, he doesn't have to wait for Sally to return them. We download them and customize his cartridge to go for his books. This has resulted in us sending out less mail, but more books.
Hi, Ashley. Just before you proceed, I just wanted to pop in because we see just your first slide. I don't think we're seeing your slides advance.
Oh, no. Awesome. Yay, technical difficulties.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. So now we've talked about our audiobook collection, but You might be wondering, well, what about printed books? The library does carry large print books, but in limited quantities. We really partner with our branch libraries across the state to provide large print books to patrons. What we do provide in print is Braille. Now, outside of Washington, D.C., we have the largest Braille collection. Now, this is what I was told. I like to think it's true. We provide reading materials for all levels. We provide books and magazines in Braille. We have thousands of e-Braille books. And for those who are interested, we even provide an electronic Braille reader. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would you provide an electronic Braille reader? Well, I want you to stop and think about the book Joy of Cooking. Joy of Cooking is typically a 3.5-inch volume book that is incredibly dense and has very small print. It's a very hefty book. One volume printed equates to 30 volumes in Braille. That's a massive amount of books to send your way. So instead, we offer you the opportunity to download that book in a Braille format and read it on a device. The images on the screen are 2 hands reading Braille, and then a digital Braille machine. The digital Braille machine is approximately 6 inches long, 4 inches wide, and 1 inch deep. It has 28 cells, Braille cells, I should say. It has 8 keys on top and 2 keys below those Braille cells. Now, once the book is downloaded to the device, you would simply run your finger across it as you would reading a Braille book, and then hit the space bar or return button on the device, and it would go to the next line. All right, did my screen change? All right, we're moving. So that's great, but what about individuals who are interested in getting books directly to their mobile devices? You have things at the public library like Libby and Overdrive. You have 3M and Hoopla. Well, we provide a service very similar to that. We provide something called the Braille and Audio Reading Download Service. And with this, an individual can download books directly to their mobile devices, such as an iOS or Android device. With access to over 110,000 books in audio or e-Braille, I defy anyone to say that they have nothing to read. We provide access to magazines in Braille and audio formats. And because it's a direct download and not things that we're sending to you in the mail, we actually allow you to hang on to it for as long as you need it. There are no due dates. So unlike a book at the library that is an ebook where you have to be placed on hold, there are no wait times. You just simply add it to your book list and download it. And there's no having to worry about returning it. You keep it for as long as your device has space or until you finish the book. You can download up to 100 books per month. Now, I would love to say that it's very rare for people to actually hit that mark, but several of our voracious readers will download 10, 20 books at a time and hit that 100 book limit very quickly. The mobile application looks very similar to the digital talking book machine. If you remember a few slides back where I described the digital book machine, the buttons in the digital version or in the smart device version look exactly the same. This is designed so that you can move between devices very easily if you have low vision, and it's designed to work with screen reading and assistive technology software so that if you have no vision or if you're using the assistive technology built into your phone, you can navigate easily. Now, what's really cool about this is that all of our books, again, are human voices, and you can create a wish list. You can track your recently reads. You can see what has been read by other individuals, what's considered popular, and you can create bookmarks to go back and forth very easily. The image that's on the screen is of a hand holding an iPhone 7, and on the screen is a book on the digital version of the talking book player. The talking book player screen shows a play button, rewind, fast forward, bookmark, sleep, and speed. One of the supplementary services that we provide is Bookshare. Bookshare is slightly different in that it's a self-service model, much like the Braille and audio reading download service, but using synthetic voices. Rather than a real human voice, they are able to access more books, up to 700,000, using text and audio recognition screen reading services. So it is a synthetic computer voice reading to you, but very much like the BARD service that we provide, there are no due dates. You can download directly to a smart device. You can download to the computer for use on the digital talking book player. You can track your recently reads. You can create a wish list. You can see what's popular, what's recently added. Again, it's a supplementary service. So instead of getting access to just the 110,000 books BARD provides, with this supplementary self-directed service, you have access to an additional 700,000, and that number grows daily. The image that's on the screen is of the Bookshare logo. Bookshare is a third-party software that the library pays for. Another supplementary service that we provide is Newsline. Newsline allows you as a patron of the library to access national, local, and regional newspapers. There are some international newspapers and periodicals. It gives you access to local news and entertainment. It gives you access to magazines that the library does not have. And it does this through synthetic reading voices. Again, very much like Bookshare, they're able to scan all the newspapers, all the magazines, and using a synthetic reading voice, provide this information to you. You can access it over the phone, via a web app, or on the computer. One of the neat features, however, is called the emergency weather alert system, where you can call in and hear not just the weather, but what's going on emergency-wise, and it'll tell you what you need to know. It takes those alerts, those annoying alerts you get on television and in the radio, and puts it in a spot that you can call and listen to. One of the hidden gems within our program is the Maryland Accessible Textbook Program. Now, this program is designed for 2 to 4 year college students in Maryland who have difficulty accessing standard print. These are going to be individuals who are blind, who have low vision, but also individuals who are dyslexic, have receptive aphasia, perhaps a traumatic brain injury. And we work in conjunction with the DSS office of the school to get you the books that you need. Now, this program is free, but students do have to purchase their own copy of the book. And if we can't find you a digital version of the book in a format that you need, we will try to create one. We provide formats in MP3, accessible PDF, and large print. We are currently working on EPUB and Braille, but the translation, of course, takes a long time. The image that's on the screen is of a graduation cap and a diploma. Another hidden gem within the library is the Technology User Group. This Technology User Group meets monthly via teleconference, and they discuss topics including adaptive tech, the latest apps, and all sorts of different programs that are geared towards individuals with limited or no sight. It's also an opportunity for Skillshare. Individuals who come to this program usually have a tip or an idea that makes life easier for everyone. We bring in guest speakers who come in and talk about the latest technology that perhaps they're selling or perhaps they are an expert on. Above and beyond that, we provide assistive technology training. So individuals who are looking to learn how to use their Google Home and they're looking to use it as a blind individual or someone with a physical impairment can work individually one-on-one with our assistive technology librarian and learn how to use that device. All of these technology user group meetings are recorded and archived, and they're kept for about a year. We are now actually putting them out in podcast format as well. The image on the screen is of a keyboard button, a return keyboard button that says learn rather than enter. So let's talk programs and events. Just like libraries across the state of Maryland, the Library for the Blind and Print Disabled provides events and programs for adults, seniors, children, and family. Now, I am responsible for adult and senior adult programming and outreach. Over the course of the year, we provide various reading challenges like the Summer Reading Challenge. We will do tactile tours, crafts, games. But because we serve the entire state of Maryland, we often have to do these in a digital format. Now, we recognize that not everybody is able to get to Baltimore for a tactile tour, but we are working with our partner organizations to bring audio versions of those tactile tours to individuals across the state. We bring in guest speakers via podcast who come and share information that would otherwise be inaccessible to individuals with limited to no vision. We hold live performances of plays and skits, poetry and music performances as well. The image on the screen is of a blind individual touching a spacesuit at the Goddard Space Center. That was one of our tactile tours. Now, my wonderful colleague, LaShawn Miles, is actually responsible for youth. So she does birth 21, I do 18 and above. And she does an amazing job doing programs specifically geared towards individuals who are print disabled and who are under the age of 21. She does a summer reading challenge, a winter reading challenge with interactivities. She brings in guest speakers, holds live performances, and she even participated in a program called Build a Better Book, where she partnered with a local school to build books in a tactile way to get people thinking about universal design. The image that's on the screen is of a group of individuals testing out these tactile books. In the far back, you have an individual who is reading rhinestone Braille for Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And at the forefront, you have an individual who is completing a maze for another book. Okay, so our program in a nutshell, that was a lot of information. You're probably asking yourself, okay, this is great. I can think of 3 or 4 patrons right now who would qualify for service. What do they have to do? Well, the first and foremost, they have to complete an application. Again, because there are individuals who may not be able to access the screen, I am going to read what is on the screen to you. Eligibility. The following persons are eligible for loan service: those whose visual acuity as determined by a competent authority is 20/200 or less in the better eye with correcting lenses. Those with physical disabilities are eligible as follows: persons whose visual impairment with correction is certified by a competent authority as preventing the reading of standard print material, persons certified by a competent authority as unable to read standard print material because of a physical limitation, and persons certified by a competent authority as having a reading disability resulting from organic dysfunction and of such severity that it prevents them from reading printed material in a conventional manner. That's a lot of big words to say. If you cannot see a book, hold a book, or process standard print, but cognition is in place, you may qualify for service. The one thing that I must make clear is that the application must be certified. This is a federal application, which means that the application must be signed. A certifying authority is going to be a doctor of medicine, a DO, an ophthalmologist or an optometrist, a psychologist, a registered nurse, a therapist, and professional staffs at hospitals, institutions, public welfare agencies, such as a social worker, caseworker, counselor, rehabilitation teacher, reading specialist, psychologist, superintendent, or librarian. Some frequently asked questions. Does your program offer music? Well, the answer is not quite. We do not offer music for listening, but we do offer musical scores in e-Braille, Braille, and large print. Large print is often called bold note when it is in musical form. We will provide recorded instructional materials to learn to play various musical instruments, as well as music appreciation material. How are materials received from and returned to the library? Well, you can check out materials 2 ways. The first is us sending you materials through the US Postal Service. We can send books to you through Free Matter for the Blind, and they are returned the same way. This means that the patron does not pay postage for any materials sent to or from them back to the library. You can also download materials directly to your device. When materials are downloaded, again, there are no due dates and you don't have to worry about the US Postal Service. And does it cost anything? The answer is no, a resounding no. If you walk away with nothing else, this is a free program. It is a tax-supported program by federal and state taxes. We are a state agency that administers a federal program. There's no cost to eligible readers. We do not charge fines or fees. If they lose a book, they lose a book. That's just kind of how it is. The mail has eaten up so many books over the years. So here's how to connect with us. You can call us. You can visit our website. We are on social media, or you can email us. Our direct telephone number is 410-230-2424. And our email address is reference.desk@maryland.gov. So that's everything I have, and I'm sure that there's questions that I can answer. So here we go.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Yes, we do have a few questions in the chat, and of course, I have a few of my own. So I'll jump right into it. So the first question we have from Robin Kemp is, what are Braille cells?
Braille cells are the 6 dots of Braille. So when you're looking at a Braille cell, it's 6 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a Braille cell.
And just to follow up, does your institution provide any resources for teaching folks how to read Braille?
We have a partnership with BISM, the Sailor program, and we have Braille tutors who come in and teach one-on-one individuals who are learning Braille, who would like to learn Braille.
Oh, perfect. That's wonderful. So Kathy asked, how do you read Braille on the phone? So if you can give us just a little bit of insight on how that actually works.
Okay, so on this is my iPhone, and what I would do is actually connect this to that digital e-reader, that Braille reader, using Bluetooth.
Mm.
And anything that comes up on my screen will get shown on that Braille reader.
Mm.
So it's 2 devices. Now, those Braille readers, typically individuals purchase them privately. They can run between $1,500 to $5,000. We provide one that's meant to be used with our books at no cost.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. We still have, okay. Kathy asks, do patrons keep the digital talking book player forever?
Oh, that's a really good question. It seems like forever, but it's what's called an extended loan. What this means is that as long as they are a patron of our library, they have the access right to that player, and only they have the access right to that player. They're not supposed to be sharing it, swapping it. If you see one at Goodwill or you run across one on eBay, let us know, because they're supposed to be returned to us. Now, sadly, people often return them to us after a patron has passed away. But if you are borrowing our digital talking book player and something happens, like say the battery just won't hold a charge, or the books are not being read anymore, we will send you another one, and then you send the old one back, so that there's no delay in service.
Thank you again for that. Next up, Miriam writes, I may have missed it a little earlier, but what variety of languages are supported through the program?
Oh, hundreds. So English, of course, is the predominant language, but thanks to the Marrakesh Treaty, which is an international agreement between other libraries like ourselves, we have access to books in many, many languages: Spanish, French, Portuguese, Mandarin. Oh my gosh, the list goes on. We actually have one individual who only wants books in Russian, and luckily we're able to fulfill their requests on a pretty regular basis. And that's thanks to this international treaty.
Wow. So I'm gonna check the chat to see if there's anything that I've missed. You've given us a ton of information. I'm sure a lot of this, uh, and we didn't know, including myself, and you're right next door. um, but I don't see any more questions in the chat. I don't see any more in the Q&A. So I can just thank you so much for your amazing presentation. Like I said, you've given us so much information, and with us being so close, I'm pretty sure there's some things that people just, even at Pratt, don't know. So thank you so much. If you guys want to go ahead and pop in some more questions, we have a little bit more time. While Ashley's here, we can bend her ear.
Happy to.
A lot of just wonderful information and people thanking you in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
I see Sarah says we've had the clamshells come through our branch on the way to you, and I always wondered how that all worked. So great. Thank you for that, Sarah. Yes, very informative. So
It's a lot of
Ashley,
information.
it is. I wanted to thank you once again for presenting for us once again. You've been amazing through these conferences. Oh, I see someone said one more time, what is your organization? So did you wanted to share that again?
Sure. We are the Maryland State Library for the blind and print disabled. We serve blind, low vision, deaf-blind, and otherwise print disabled individuals who cannot access traditional print.
And just, I know that you guys changed the name recently. You guys
Yeah.
used to go by the Maryland State Library for the Blind, if I'm not correct?
We were the Maryland State Library for the blind and physically handicapped.
Right.
But again, thanks to the Marrakesh Treaty, we are now able to serve many more individuals who otherwise would not have qualified for our services, like individuals like myself who are dyslexic, individuals who aren't able to access standard print, but because of a reading disability. Whereas before, it was kind of a gray area. Now we can go out and proudly say, yes, we can help you.
Oh, that's wonderful. We did get a couple more questions, so if you guys are okay, I can ask what we got in the chat. Amanda writes, are the downloadable programs similar to Audible?
Similar in that they are a high quality audio production, and that you can keep it as long as you want, but not similar in that they are you have to purchase them. These are free.
And Kathy writes, how do most patrons learn about your services?
Through you, through their public libraries, through the individuals that know them best. There are individuals who will read every audio book, every CD book at your library, and they are just craving more. And refer them to us, because we share our patrons with, it's a shared patron situation. But a lot of people find out through the public libraries. And I'm of course available to come and do presentations at public libraries for your patrons or for your staff.
Thank you so much. I do have like one other question. Do you guys participate in do you often send materials to other states, or you just send it to those in the state of Maryland?
Just those in the state of Maryland. Okay. Now we do have our snowbirds who go to Florida for a little while or go down south, but as long as their primary residence is in Maryland, we can accommodate them.
Oh, perfect. Again, thank you so much for all the information you've provided. You've been wonderful. I'm sure with the information you've given us, a lot of us will be referring patrons even more. So yes, I just want to thank you again and thank all of our attendees for sticking with us today through this conference. We look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow at our in-person conference at Central Slurk State Library Resource Center, the Central Branch. So again, thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.